Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Disc Golf Examiner. Today we're covering the 2020 BCBO Take Two. It's actually the 2021 BCBO out here in Wellsburg, West Virginia, at the Bud and Carroll Billiards Disc Golf Course at Bells Park. I'm your host, Bryan Keegan, and joining me today is Cody Dockrill, who's on the card. Cody, how are you doing?
What's up, Bryan? I'm doing well. Ready to watch some disc golf.
Yeah, it's a really great day out there. It was a little cool in the morning. The wind started to come out during the afternoon, so it definitely started to affect a lot of people during this round. We're going to see a beautiful drive here by Wes Hudson, and then his subsequent upshot for his birdie there.
Yeah, that's a good play.
Yeah, fantastic. And this course is known. It's provides a challenge with its hills, as well as it has a little bit of tight wooded area and some water features. So there's a good variety of different types of shots we're going to see today. And we're going to start off with our lead card here. And we have Bart joining us from the Western Ohio region. He's a Discmania sponsored pro, and he does have a great YouTube channel. You got to check it out. Of course, second place on the card at the moment, Cody here from Akron. He's been on Disc Golf Examiner often over the years. I'd say this is probably your seventh or so time on.
Something like that.
We have Matt Rosier from the Pittsburgh area, and actually he's the 2018 BCB Open champion, so he's coming to defend his title. And Nate Blake from Medina, Ohio. He is 23 years old. He's a newer player. I would say that he told me that he's been playing for about a year or so, and he is really good. So we're going to start things off on hole one. Par 3, it is 527 feet, and there's a Mando here on the tree on the right.
Yeah, this is probably one of the tougher holes out here. Pretty long par 3, just trying to get it down the hill, throw it off to the right, trying to hyzer back, get a look at a putt.
And Bart on the box here. And that's flipping good. He's getting a full flight out of that as that comes down. Oh, and that's a great rip. It's going to be distance from the basket, though. There, it looks like he went into the woods, so I'm sure that's going to come into play here.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, not stoked with that one. Not a great start, missing the Mando on the first shot. There's plenty of room off to the left. Kind of felt like that shouldn't come into play. And then Matt kind of makes the same mistake. We did have a pretty strong left to right headwind on this hole.
And Nate off the box. Looks like that's going to hyzer out a little early. And he's going to catch a tree, but he should have an easy up for his.
Yeah, he'll be fine from there.
So this will be the drop zone you're throwing from, I imagine, here, Cody.
Yep, that's the drop zone, just trying to chip up and get a look at a putt.
I'm going to give a huge shout out to Josh Fender, who was the TD for this event. And actually, funny enough story, his wife's due date was the day after this, but the baby decided to come day of the event. So,
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I believe Josh Weir picked up some duties there, and Wes Hudson as the TDs. But luckily they had that in place. But congratulations to the new daddy.
Yeah, congrats.
And that's a beautiful putt by you there for bogey, unfortunately, Cody.
Yeah, not happy about the 4, but it's the best you could do after missing the Mando. So.
And Rosier for his par.
I think that was a bogey as well. He missed the Mando too.
Oh.
Nate and Bart are going to be tapping in here.
So we're going to move on to the next hole, hole 2, which moves into the woods here. It kind of plays down and across this ravine where the basket's on the other side. Of course, you have to get through all of these guardian trees. It does appear that there are some tight gaps there for you to take. There's backhand and forearm. Do you have a preferred gap that you'd like to take there, Cody?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are going to be going for like a flat to hyzer gap on this one. There's a few different options. It's kind of a short hole, but it's still definitely not a gimme. It's really tight.
Bart still lead on the box here.
It looked good, just got a little bit wide with it.
Jeez, yeah. He's going to have a roll down the hill. We'll see if he has a putt from there.
Nate opting for the forehand.
Which is going to finish a little right, but he's going to have a long look at the putt.
Yeah, just didn't get that one flat. I was aiming for the gap to the right of the one that I hit, so never really gave it a chance to get down there.
Looks like Rosier's going to be trying a similar line here. Got his up a little higher, and that's riding out nice and just, yeah, there we go, pin high.
Yeah, it's perfect. Probably about a circle's edge putt, 25 feet.
Bart giving that a great run as he hits metal there. And Cody, you got a couple trees in your way, it looks like.
Yeah, I had to straddle out on this one.
You're probably 60 feet or so.
Yeah, it was a long one. I was just trying to give it a bid.
Oh,
a little bit low.
We'll see if Nate here, he has some strange footing here.
Yeah, standing on a log. It's never ideal.
Nope. I got to say, I love this course. I think it's a beautiful course, and I think it's great for beginners as well as challenging for the upper tier players. Like Matt here grabbing his birdie.
Yeah, it's a good bird. Yeah, this course is fun. It's got a good bit of variety with woods and open holes. It's got some elevation. Definitely a good time.
And Nate, Bart getting his par.
Yep, couple of par tap ins.
And which means we're going to move on to hole 3. Which is another par 3, and it's actually probably the shortest hole on the course. I haven't confirmed that yet, but it is 208 feet, and there's a left gap and a right gap. Obviously, the left gap would be a sidearm gap, and the right gap is nice. It's good for a backhand, but I think that the ideal one, everybody's going to go for a flick here.
Yeah, the flick is definitely the ideal play here. It's a little bit wider to start out, kind of helps make sure you're not going to hit early. I think on this one, you're kind of just trying to hit the gap and then hit the initial gap. And then once you get up towards the basket, there's some guardians. It's kind of tough to predict what's going to happen.
Bart's flick is going to get up there. He's going to have a ways to putt, but he's got a line to it.
Yeah, a little bit sawed off, but he got through.
Nate's got an interesting angle here. Unfortunately, he's going to clip a tree, and he's going to take a bad roll. And what disc are you lining up here, Cody?
That's a Firebird. Just trying to throw like a soft Firebird up the gap. It's not that long of a hole.
And that is looking great. Great skip and roll right under the basket.
Yeah, it was a bit better than I expected. That was out of all my previous rounds, that was by far the closest I got on this one.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And let's see if Nate is able to at least get up close to the basket with this one. He's got a bunch of trees in his way.
Ooh, that's tough.
Boy. I have had that happen on a number of occasions.
Yeah, I think we all have.
And here we have Rosier in an interesting position as well. He's going to go to backhand. He's going to be able to hit his gap and get up there.
Yeah, chipping up nicely.
And Nate's still a ways away. He's going to clip another tree.
Oh, that's rough. That can be hard to watch.
Yeah. And Bart here finally made it to his drive. He's trying to sink this one.
Yeah, he's got a good look.
Yeah.
Just a little right on it.
And Nate going for his putt this time.
Yeah, I think this is for bogey.
Yes. And it just bounced off the cage there.
Yeah, a little short on it.
And Bart will have his par. As well as Rosier. And unfortunately, Nate's going to take a double bogey here.
Yeah, it's not a hole that you want to get a double on.
Mm-mm. And you for your birdie, which is great. For you gained a stroke here going into hole 4, which is kind of more of an open hole. You have a little bit of a Mando here, as this light pole that we're coming up on says. You want to make it out into this field and up the hill to where the basket is. Actually, I think the basket's going to be a little bit more to the right of where this basket is, but regardless, it's 476 feet up this hill, and the wind is actually whipping at this point.
Yeah, and with the Mando forcing you to the left of that pole, it's kind of going to force a lot of just like sky anhysers over the trees, just trying to get it into play. It's kind of a tweener hole. I don't think you're going to see many 2s on here, but also not too many 4s either.
Yeah, I will give a shout out to Vinny Montanari for 2ing it right before you guys came onto the box here.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge 2.
And Matt's going for a roller, it looks like. And the wind's going to catch that nicely.
Yeah, it's a pretty good play here.
Yeah. Still a ways to go up that hill, but that's great distance. And Bart has distance. You can see that wind just catch his disc, and it's gonna kill it there, though.
Yeah, it almost looked like he just skied that one a little bit. It looked like it had good power, just a little bit too high.
And Nate's gonna try to make up those strokes here as he plays that gap very nicely with that flick up the hill, and he's gonna have a circle 2 putt from there.
Yeah, it's such a smash of a flick. He got further up there with a flick than any of us did throwing big anhysers.
Yeah, he played that Mando real close and tight and was able to capitalize.
Feels like a risky play, but...
Rosier, known for making long putts, gives that a good upshot. And you'll as well pitch up. And here is Nate for his 2. Uphill in the wind. And he's just going to stay there next to the basket. That'll be good.
Yep, everybody with good pitch ups, tap in pars.
Yeah, this hole actually did average about 3.13 as far as par goes.
Yeah, I think Vinny was
So
the only birdie, and then most of the field just got threes.
yeah. So we're going to move on to hole 5, which is a par 3, 388 feet. It kind of plays along this embankment here, and there's a dip in this hill. So you're kind of playing a little bit hill to hill type of situation. And this is just one where wind comes into play no matter what. It's just an open hole.
Yeah, we had a pretty stiff headwind here, and actually the wood line down at the bottom on the left was OB, so definitely could be easy to let one slip down there, but it is pretty open. So
I was not aware of that. Thanks. And Cody on the box. What are you throwing here, Cody?
it's a Halo Destroyer, just going overstable in the headwind, trying to throw a big hyzer up there.
Yeah.
A little bit short, but
It'll
play.
And Rosier giving his a nice rip. That's probably a St. Pro that he's ripping there. And it's going to... he'll have a long putt from there.
Yeah, it looked like he just didn't get the flip that he wanted.
Yeah, you can tell the wind's totally messing with everybody's throws here.
Mm-hmm.
And Bart's going to throw a really interesting line. He's going to play for that skip. And he's going to go actually a little bit long of the basket.
Yeah, overshot it a bit. It's probably about 50 out.
And Nate going with that sidearm. And that's flipping. And it's dancing in the wind there and kind of dying. Gets that good skip. And he's pin high, but he's still probably a good 45 feet.
He's got a good angle at it, though, looking up the hill.
Mm-hmm. Matt giving that a good run. He's going to have a long putt to come back to, though. And Cody, this is for your birdie.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I was stoked to knock that one down. It actually kind of worked out where the wind died down just a little bit when I stepped up to it. Good examination there.
Got to feel good. That you know that Bart has a long putt from here. So, he has to make this putt to, stay ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have Nate putting up the hill. And, right off the band.
Yeah, just a little high.
Yeah. Bart's just going to pitch up, it looks like, here.
Yeah, it was a death putt.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want it to take a roll down that hill. And Matt here, Matt always goes for it. That's what he's known for, is just beautiful long putts.
Yeah, it was a great save there.
Yeah. Nate for his par. And everybody else should be pitching in here. There's Bart. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next hole, hole 6. It's a par 4. It is 470 feet. It plays down this hill into some tight woods. And honestly, I really think this is one of the iconic holes of the course, because you have this woods come into play, and you have a little ravine here with some streams, and you have the basket all the way up here, dog leg left up this hill, on essentially a mound here.
Yeah, really cool hole. Kind of throwing downhill into the woods and then back uphill. We did have probably a 5 to 10 minute backup on this one, so we were kind of sitting for a while before throwing, and there was a pretty good right to left here as well. And just kind of shanked that one, but was fortunate to kick into the middle.
Yeah, it looks like the middle is exactly where you want to be on this one.
Yep.
And there's no, even though there's a little stream down there, there's no OB. It's just casual.
Yeah.
Oh, Rosier just disintegrated a branch off that tree.
Yeah, he ended up in about the same spot that I'm in.
Bart hitting the middle gap here. Going to clip a tree and bounce left, though. That's not a great position to be in because you have some shrubbery over there.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal over there. And Nate looks like he got over on that decently, a little bit low, but that's the best shot of the group for sure. He's going to be in a decent position to get up and down.
Rosier's next shot. Going to clip a tree, but he's in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe he rolled down a little bit, though.
I got a little bit ambitious on that one. I was trying to pipe it through all the branches and get a look at a 3, but in hindsight, I probably should have just chipped up for an easy 4.
I will say that this did average out. This hole did average out to 4.06 for par.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, it's playing to above what it states. So
yeah, that was a pretty good scramble shot from Bart too. He's gonna have a long look from there.
Nathan looks like he's going to a flick, but he's got a tight line up there. And I think he just got over on that a little bit
yeah,
longer.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Left himself a little bit of a tester.
And Matt has a really awkward angle, it looks like, to the basket there.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot.
And that's going to hook up too hard. He's going to be down in the ravine. He'll be pitching up there. You'll have a long putt.
Yeah, I actually thought that shot ended up a little bit better than that, but I was kind of blind to the basket, so.
Yeah, I think the area around the basket, there's a lot of it's kind of lumpy ground, so I don't know if that catches the disc probably better than if you had flat ground that was skippable.
Yeah, it could have been that. Could have been just bad depth perception.
And we have Nate.
Oh, he was down there a bit further than I thought.
And Rosier has an interesting lie here. I think I can't remember what the situation was. He was trying to figure out what part of the log he should be putting from.
He was asking if he could stand behind it, but ultimately it was more than 11 inches if he was to get behind it. So I think we kind of decided that he should probably stand on it because we weren't sure.
And of course, Matt
makes the putt.
Big putt for par. Oh, little shy on that one.
Yeah, tapping in a bogey. Not stoked.
Yeah. Nate for par. And Bart for par. And we're going to move on to hole 7, which is a very interesting hole. It's a par 3. It is 293 feet, but it plays through this tight gap out over water. So, and the basket is actually on an embankment close to the water. So this is definitely a very challenging hole for a lot of people. What did you think of this particular hole, Cody?
I like it, even though it's kind of like one of those nightmare holes where it's really easy to take a bogey on it. It's kind of, I was kind of going into it thinking 2 or 4. I was kind of thinking try and ace run the basket because there's a backstop behind it.
And Matt is gonna, oh no, he's gonna just get over.
That was close, but he skipped up and he's parked. It was a great shot.
Wow. Bart off the box here. Oh, he's going to put that second tree, but he's going to have a good roll out into the center.
Yeah, not a terrible break.
I mean, as far as things that can go wrong here, that's not a horrible.
I'd take that over being in the water.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Nate there is going to be in a weird position over on the right-hand side in the woods. And you're going to play that real nice and low. And we're going to have you just in bounds, it looks like.
By the... Yeah, that was so lucky. I was not trying to play that skip. It's just a little bit low. I thought it was in the water for sure.
And Nate will pitch out, trying to get to that basket. Unfortunately, a little shy. He's going to go OB.
Yeah.
Bart thrown out over the water, and he has got a great shot there. Great,
yeah, it's
great
perfect. Using the backstop there.
And Nate playing from where he last went out of bounds. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of a hill there.
Yeah, and where my drive ended up was actually like it was a pretty tough call to say whether it was in or out of bounds, and it ended up being a split decision on the group. And in those cases, benefit goes to the player. So we called it in, had a tap in two.
You and Rosier taking a 2 on this one, and if Bart is able to make this, he will have the par. Nate is going to be taking a double bogey, unfortunately, there.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one to kick over to the right and then end up OB on your second.
And now we're going to move on to hole 8. It's a par 3, 238 feet, but it's pretty much straight uphill, and you have a few like really wider trees to contend with here. You'll see I took this video a few weeks ago whenever there wasn't foliage, and suddenly the foliage has changed and filled out these trees, and they're more of a danger now. I see it as more of, this is something that you have to get around.
Yeah, definitely. And this is definitely a hole that we're all looking to birdie. It's not that far. It's pretty open, and it's definitely one that you want to get a 2 on. But there is OB behind the basket, that road.
Oh yeah, that too. So last hole, it looked like you two, you were able to tie it back up with Bart. His drive here is fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great shot.
He's going to have a good putt. And Nate up the hill, getting a skip, and he should be within putting range as well.
Yeah, he's probably within 20, 25 feet. I just had to chip up there. I didn't want to mess with that OB behind.
And let's see, Matt always giving it a shot. That's just the way that he plays. And coming in close to that OB.
Yeah, a little high, but he still stayed safe.
Oh, no, Nate. Just a little high going OB.
Yeah, after these past couple, Nate looks like Nate's kind of having a nightmare round right now.
I could Bart here for his birdie, great putt.
Yeah, good bird.
Rosier for his par. Cody for your par.
Yeah, just tapping it in. Wasn't too happy about that. It's probably one of the easiest holes in the course. You definitely wanted to get that one.
And maybe trying to, come back with a birdie was his ultimate goal there. Just went off a little bit. Hole 9's a par 4. It is 729 feet, and it is the last hole on the front 9. So this actually plays the road is OB, and you have to go up the hill here. It's a big, long field. All of it's uphill, and you play to the yellow basket, which is actually past the green basket here. You'll see it here in a moment.
Yeah, the key on this one is just keep it in the middle, try and get it as far out there as you can. They actually had the wood line on the left side. They had an OB line along that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. So it's a narrow fairway where you're throwing kind of over OB.
Yeah, a little bit. Just trying to crush it up the middle and get an open look. It gets pretty wide up there in the field. Plenty of space to land.
Beautiful shot there by Bart. He's all the way. I was taking photos out there round one. I didn't see anybody else be able to drive that far.
Yeah, that was definitely the longest shot I saw there today.
And Rosier gonna go OB.
Saw that one off a little bit, heading towards the woods on the left. It's actually pretty fortunate that it wasn't OB, though. It was probably a couple feet in bounds.
And looks like Nate's lining up a flick. He's playing that nice and low, and it's coming right at me, so I got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
little bit low. Oh, that was a brutal roll. It looked like he was going to be safe over there.
You will not believe how close that was to being in bounds. Like,
yeah,
it was insane that rolled like that. Rosier finally making it out to the center of the field there.
Yeah, and I just kind of had to chip up. I didn't really have an option to go for the basket from there.
You can actually hear the sound of the fracking machines in the background.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
I remember just hearing those loud sounds all day. I'm thinking, what is that?
Yeah, it's actually, there's a little facility not too far from this location on the hill. Actually intersects with the park. So, and Bart going to have a great pitch up there, and he'll have a look at the putt.
Yeah, he's got to look at a birdie.
And Rosier still not quite up to the basket, but for him, he'll probably run that.
Yeah, I probably would. I'm going forehand here. I felt like I just had better distance control on that. It was tough to tell how far that shot really was up the hill.
Nate getting up to the basket. And here is Bart for his birdie. Just a little to the right, I think.
Yeah, he just left his approach a little bit short on that one. Had a long putt.
Rosier for a long putt, just a little bit to the right. And actually, hole 9 did play on average as a 4.38. So definitely above par on that one for a lot of people.
Yeah, a little bit over par with the out of bounds, the distance and the hill. It definitely was a tough get, and that was a pretty rough one from Matt.
Nate getting a bogey, Matt unfortunately getting a triple bogey there, and that's going to be the end of the front 9 for us. We have Bart in the lead at 9 under, Cody at 8 under, Matt at 3 under, and Nate at +1. We're going to continue our coverage of them as we move on to the back 9 during our next video. If you guys like this video, remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and share it. That's how we get the word out. Cody, anything you want to plug before we go?
No, I don't think so. We'll catch you on the back nine.
That's right. So until then, guys, keep banging those chains.